Hi, I am Nicole, and about a year ago I decided to launch Seams of Sunshine Co. as a small company, and recently I have decided to launch this channel to keep up with the process. I make hand embroidery projects, sewing, sometimes crochet, but I've seen a lot in this space of the internet that documents the process, but it's very perfected and professional, and to be honest, I'm just not there in my journey. So I wanted to kind of show what the raw process was for me and start to finish of a sewing project. So that's why we're here today. I have made this Bible sleeve, and if you decide to stay and watch, you will definitely see that it was a process. You know, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, and there were a few hiccups along the way, but we got here, and now I have this bag to carry my Bible, my notebooks, some pens, and I'm just really pleased with the way it turned out. I love it, even though it's not exactly what I had in mind. So I hope you stick around and watch this video, and hopefully I'll have more content for you soon. Thanks. I've been eyeing this material for probably close to a year at this point, and my local Hobby Lobby was running low, so I was like, I have to go ahead and buy it. But the outside I'm going to do in this green stripe fabric. I just think it's so simple and so beautiful. I love it. It's kind of a canvasy feel, so I think it'll be really durable as I'm toting the Bible around. And then I'm going to use this cream color for the inside liner, and just a receipt. I'm thinking about making a little inside pocket for my pens with the green. I bought a whole yard of both of these. I do not think I need a yard of either of these fabrics, but it's always best to have extra when you're sewing, is the mindset that I have, because you don't want to be short on a sewing project. And then I have this quilt batting that I think I'm going to actually put between the layers. So I'll do a layer of cream, a quilt batting, and then a layer of the green, and that just makes it thicker. You could layer it up twice and just have that really quilted look. I just think it's very classy and very beautiful, but I at least want one layer of the quilting, and then I'll just, since there are stripes, I think I'm gonna do, don't hold me to this, but right now my plan is horizontal stripes on the Bible case, then maybe vertical, just a few vertical quilting lines on it, just to add a little bit of depth. I haven't fully committed to that. I just really don't know. Sometimes projects are so beautiful in my mind that it's really difficult for me to commit to working with the fabric, because I don't want to mess it up. But, you know, that's part of it, and that's why we buy extra fabric, because if we mess it up, we can just start over. I have a beautiful velvet chocolate brown ribbon that I've purchased to be the bow for, like, the closure for the Bible case. So in concept, it'll be about 2 inches on the base, 2 inches on the side. Your Bible will just slide in, and then you can close it with a little bow. And in my mind, it's so beautiful, and let's just see if it turns out. The first step, we have to draw everything out and cut and measure. So the part that I like the least, it's also the most critical to the project. So I'm gonna go start doing that, and then maybe I'll take you along at some point with that. So we have a slight change of plans. I was going to just cut my fabric and start sewing. And I realized I don't think I'm gonna follow a pattern for this. I've looked online, and there are so many cute book sleeves, but I'm not seeing one that I have kind of imagined. I've seen finished products sold online, similar to what I'm thinking, but I don't see any patterns or tutorials that are out there that I'm just loving. So I am going to make my own pattern, which is how it always starts. This is usually how I go rogue. I start and then I make my own thing, and then most of the time it turns out, but sometimes I'm like, why did I do this to myself? So I'm going to try. I have this white liner fabric. I love to just buy this. It's just like a Walmart, I think it's 3 yards of fabric. And I'm going to use this to make my pattern because I don't have any newspaper, which my mom swears by. And I've actually done the newspaper patterns before and I like it, but I can't tell you the last time I bought a newspaper, so I do not have any newspaper. So I'm going to use this to cut on because if I mess it up, it was a few dollars at Walmart and it's not the fabric that I am scared to mess up. So I'm going to cut this and kind of pin it and see if it fits the dimensions that I like. And then I will use that as my pattern. The biggest thing is that I want to do boxed corners on this. My Bible is actually really big because it's a journaling Bible, and then these are the highlighters that I normally would put in there with it, and a pen in the pocket. So I would like to have at least a 2-inch box corner so my Bible will slide down and it will hold, and then maybe have an extra space for a little notebook or my highlighters to sit. And just have I want it to be snug. I don't want it to be this big giant bag. I just want it to be a sleeve, so it just slides in, stores, and I can carry it just the way I would carry my Bible, but it has all the things. So I'm going to start measuring on this paper and probably call my mom because that's what I do when I'm not sure my next steps. And that's where I'm at because I'm making this all up as I go, and she's brilliant. So I'm gonna give my mom a call, cut, and then I'll circle back here. This is the part where things normally go south, but I'm gonna try it anyways. So let's see if it turns out. Okay, I have cut my sample and ironed in all of my seam allowances for the edges. The reason I think this is about to go a little rogue is that I cut my boxed corners before I accounted for the seam allowances. Don't do that, because if you do that, when you go to box your corners and you pull it out, they're just, I cut 2-inch boxes, and it's not going to, like, I'm gonna have this extra 1/2 inch on either side, 1/4 inch on either side, because my seam allowance is about a 1/2 inch. So you want to fold in all of your seam allowances and then cut your box corners, because it should be a perfect square. As you can tell, mine has about 2 inches this way and only 1.5 inches this way. So we want it to go 2 inches down and 2 inches over, but because I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, it is 2 inches and 1.5 inches. So this is the second pattern I've cut because this one was too short. I cut 2-inch boxes on this one as well. And this would make a good book sleeve, but it's just too short for my Bible. So maybe good for like a notebook or something else. I'll still keep this pattern around and I'll just label it short book, something like that. So not using this one right now. I have all of these extra squares. I usually keep them. Sometimes I make little sewing tags out of them, or I might embroider like a little sunshine on them with my initials or something like that. So I just find that they make really cute labels, and who doesn't love a hand-stitched label on something that's handmade? So I'm getting ready to cut my official fabric, and I'm anxious because it doesn't always go well, but we will see. I'm going to add 1/2 inch more on my length to be my seam allowance. On my like width, not height, length. So we want just 1/2 inch extra this way, 1/4 inch on each side. And I have these ironed down for a seam allowance, but I'm going to unfold everything for the actual cutting. I just wanted to, because I'm not following a pattern, I'm just kind of making it on my own. I just wanted to make sure that my Bible would fit, because the last thing I want is to cut my good fabric and it to be too short for the project. So getting ready to cut, adding an extra 1/2 inch onto the width. We have cut both of our liner and our outer pieces, and I did not cut the box seams yet. I want to sew the sides together before I cut the corners out. That way I know my corners are square. So that's going to be the important piece. I'm about to cut, if I have enough, my quilting fabric. This is just traditional quilting piece. It's not like the really padded stuff, but I think it adds just enough to give it that texture that I'm looking for. So I'm going to unfold it and make sure I have enough. And then I also want to cut, I forgot to cut a pocket out with the green fabric. So I'm going to cut that out. I've been doing this for probably 30 minutes minimum, and I haven't sewn the first thing. So the biggest thing is ironing, iron everything, and cutting. So the more you iron, the more accurate you are on cutting. The more accurate you are on cutting, the better your piece is gonna look. It's gonna look more professional, it's gonna look more clean, and it's gonna look more crisp. So we're gonna do all of that, and then I have white thread loaded on my bobbin, but I think I have like a creamy off-white, or even a tan, and I think that would look best with this material. So I'm going to cut my batting, and then I'm gonna cut a square out and locate my ribbon, because when we are sewing, we want to make sure we sew the ribbon into the liner. So I just want to make sure everything is out and ready to go before we start sewing, and it just makes the process so much easier. So I hope that helps. It is painfully difficult to sew straight lines. I am on my 3rd line, and as you can tell, they look straight-ish, but they are not perfectly straight, and I'm so particular. But I'm gonna keep going because it's cute, it's handmade, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I like my things to look nice. So it's a process to sew the straight lines. I will show you what I'm doing as best I can while having the camera and the machine. My lines are not perfectly straight, and it's driving me absolutely crazy, and I'm really hoping it's not going to ruin the whole illusion that I have. Probably should have made one without the quilting, or at least followed the lines that are already on here, but was going for a little extra, and sometimes when we do that, we get wonky lines. So I'm gonna sew as straight as I can, and maybe some of the crooked lines will be hidden in the seam allowance. So bear with me as I try to find, I very, very faintly have lines marked, and we are just going to go from there. Still not straight. But we're just gonna keep going, and we'll see what the final product looks like. The worst that can happen is that I don't love it for myself, and I make another one. perfectly straight, but I think it will be okay. Let me see if I can show you guys real quick. So this is what I have for the quilted piece. You can see it's not perfectly straight, but it does have a little bit of like a worn-in vintage feel. So I'm going to iron it, and then I'm going to sew the pocket for the liner and then start attaching things. Okay, back to the conversation that sewing is seam ripping. My bobbin was messed up, so all of my inside seams look terrible. So I am pulling them all out, and I'm really trying to get this top stitch in, even though my daughter's just waking up. So if I can fix this quickly, I can get it top stitched and really we're almost done. Like, this is the end of the rope, but it's not sounding like I'm gonna make it there. So we'll see. I might have to come back later, but this is the part that I can't find anyone showing on the internet, and this is like 90% of sewing, is cutting, ripping all your seams out and starting over. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, this is the moment of truth. I'm flipping the bag inside out, and I don't know that I have any of this right. In my head it's right, but I don't know if it's right in reality. It's so difficult because it just leaves a little bitty space, and then you have to flip all of it through it. It's not right. It is not right. Oh my gosh. You know what's not right is my straps are on the inside of the bag. I forgot to put my straps on the outside of the bag. I knew I was doing something wrong. No. Gosh, that was the most ridiculous thing I could have forgotten. And I looked at them so many times and I was like, something doesn't feel right. And of course it didn't feel right because my straps were wrong. They were all wrong. We have this cute little bag with a cute little pocket and my little nubby straps. No! To be continued. Okay, I'm trying one more time to get these straps right. And if it's not right, then I have to get my kids up and I'll be done for today, or for now. But I hope I got them right this time. It's going to be a little bit of a looser fit than I had originally planned for my Bible. I see some of them and they're so snugly fit and it's cute. But I also wanted to be able to take a notebook, so I kind of intended on it being a little looser, but we'll just see what it looks like when it all plays out. Okay, I think it's right. Oh my goodness, okay. Wait, this is correct. Okay, I need to sew the hole in my inside liner and top stitch the edge, and I have a Bible holder. So, okay. I will punch it all out and to be determined. Okay, I have the finished product. I'm so excited. Cutting the pattern a little bigger because it was so small the first time. It is a little bit bigger than I anticipated, but I'm able to fit my Bible, my husband's Bible, a skinny notebook, so I could do just one thicker notebook, and highlighters, and in my little pocket I have my pen. My cell phone could go in here, so I could this could be like my Bible little tote, and I can just tie it all closed as such. But I love it. It's very cozy and fall-ish. So, I don't know. These are just green, brown, tan. These are my favorite colors. boring, but beautiful. So I'm very happy with the way it turned out. This was a first attempt. I didn't have any pattern. I just kind of did it all on my own. So I'm just really pleased. But I'll be making more of these. This, like I said, this is the first attempt. And I'll probably make them a little bit more snug to the Bible. And I'd love to do some with some ribbon. This one's already, like, I need to take a lint roller to it. So as beautiful as it is, it just kind of collects everything because it's velvet. And I didn't think about that before. But I love it, and I can't wait to take it to small group this week.